Greetings, guys. This is Yehuda Lee coming back to you. I'm going to just have a quick chat on the sons that we know as Cain and Abel, and just to give another idea of how we know that these two children were different, or not of Adam, or not of the original man. I've gone through this topic before, but sometimes things are in front of you and you don't even pay attention to them. But what I want to focus on this time is just the spelling of their names, and how that was a clue from my ancestors that these two children were different. All right, so I'm titling this particular talk Sons of the Serpent. All right, so the first son we're going to talk about is Cain. All right, so C-A-I-N, Cain. Now, Cain in English is Cain, or Q-A-Y-I-N, and that's on the Strong's H7014, and in Hebrew, that's how it's spelled, Q-A-Y-N, and in Aramaic, it's spelled Q-A-A-Y-E-N, and that's, if you want to look up the Aramaic, it's A1788. The reason this is important is due to his name, which tells us a lot. Let's look at the letters in his name in Hebrew to have an idea of who Cain really was. All right, so when we look at our text, or our Hebrew alphabet, when you look at the letter Q, the Q stands for a circle or sun that's on the horizons. These two definitions are important because we see the circle in a lot of pictures of characters in the New Testament. If you look at some of the pictures of JC and his mother, you will see a picture of an enlightened circle behind their heads. In most pictures, you will see a sun behind their heads. Let's go back to Cain and focus on the sun on horizon definition. This comes into play because we see that in scrolls, the angels are referred to as stars or serpents from time to time. For example, we have Lucifer. He's known as the morning star. The sun is nothing but a star. Let's keep that in mind. When you talk about the Y in Cain's name, because remember, we're not really concerned about the vowels. Our ancestors, although they have vowel sounds in their language, when they wrote, they were mainly concerned with the consonants. All right, so we talked about the Q, so now let's talk about the Y. So the Y the letter Y in our ancient text stands for, or has a definition of a hand or an arm or worship. And this letter helps us to understand that Cain was to be used for a sinister plan, as the Y in his name is used to describe strength as it relates to an arm or hand. And we have to ask ourselves, arm or hand of whom? There are several references when the Most High mentions his strong arm or hand to carry out his will. Now let's move on to the letter N. We had Q, we have the Y, and the letter N. Now the letter N in our ancient text stands for a seed or an heir or a son. This letter is specifying that Cain is somebody's son or heir. Right? And if you've listened to me before, I've already told you who I am emphatically believing Cain is the son of. All right. So what do we see when we look at Cain's name? We see that Cain was the heir or son of an angel, because remember it's a son, S-U-N, or star, angel. We see that Cain was the heir or son of an angel who was to be used to perform the will of that angel. That angel wanted destruction and chaos to come upon the earth. And it came about in the beginning with the transgression of Adam and Eve. Eve gave birth to that heir. How else do we know that Cain was the son of an angel? Well, when you look at John 3:12, it states that Cain was the son of the wicked one. Well, wait a minute. Let's just stop right there and think about it for a second. 1 John chapter 3, verse 12 states that Cain was the son of the wicked one. So are we now to believe that Adam is the wicked one? No. The wicked one describes someone else. And for all those that think that Cain was Adam's son, again, you should ask yourself, at what point in time was Adam ever called the wicked one? This is clearly telling us that the original sin was a sexual act, and Cain was the result. In the life of Adam and Eve, and this is coming from the pseudepigrapha, if you guys have access to that. In the life of Adam and Eve, chapters 21, verse 3, we see that when Cain was born, he was lustrous, i.e., he was light, he was bright, he was white. This lines up with the book of Enoch and the description of the offspring of the children of the fallen angels. And again, needless to say, Cain's skin was white. All right, so now we already talked about Cain, so let's go ahead and move on to Abel. And remember, although we have been taught that to pronounce his name Abel, it's a ball. And just for clarification, when we talk about ball, don't fall into that deception that think that ball is referencing a deity. It's actually referencing a type of being. And when you look at the older Bibles, you'll see that Abel's name is spelled A-B-E-L-L, or in some instances, A-B-A-L-L. All right, just depends on the text that you're looking at. And the consonants that I want to focus on are B, L, and L. Baal, or some people say Baal, but it's not a deity. It references people with lack of pigment, or for short, white people. All right. So in the older Bibles, like I said, Abel's name is actually spelled A-B-E-L-L. And you can look at this and find this in the Tyndale Bible, 1549 version. This is significant as it tells us more about the brother of Cain. When we look at the consonants in Abel's name, we have, like I said before, B-L-L. When we look this up in our Hebrew lexicon, we get the following: B-A-L-A-L, and that's Strong's H1101. And it means to overflow, to mix, to fodder, to mingle. What was actually mixed when it comes to Abel? The mixture was a species, Eve being made as man or of the earth, and the serpent angel being a spirit originating in the heavenly realm. The Most High told us several times in Genesis 1 that he wanted each kind to be with their own and to not mix. This was his commandment. So again, what was Abel mixed with? Someone that was natural from the earth and someone else that was from the spirit realm. We see in Genesis 6, verses 1 through 4, and in the book of Enoch, that the commandment was broken by the fallen angels. Another small thing to bring out is that the first syllable of Abel's name is A, and that's a long A. And in our ancient language, this was an indicator of whiteness. You can look it up for yourselves. You know, I'm not making this stuff up. Go do yourself a favor and do some research. What we can gather about the first two children of Adam and Eve was that they were children of the serpent who were born with white skin. Enoch 105 tells us the story of how Lamech was terrified when Noah was born because his flesh was white as snow. So when you look at Enoch 105, and then we look at verse 3, and it states, I have begotten a son unlike others. He is not of men, but resembling the offspring of the angels of heaven, is of a different nature, being altogether unlike us. Here we see Lamech is saying that due to Noah being white and having a different countenance, he is probably an offspring of an angel. Two other clues that we have concerning the first two sons of Eve is Eve's statement after Cain's birth and the lineage of Adam. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 1, Eve states, I have gotten a man from the Lord. We have been taught to gloss over this verse as if Eve was praising the Most High for the birth of Cain, but she was not. She was stating, or rather confirming with despair, that she had delivered a son of the serpent. In Genesis 5:3 it states, and Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. Genesis 5, chapter 1 begins by stating the generations of Adam and says that the Most High created man, Adam, in his likeness. Verse 3 states that Seth was in the likeness of Adam, and it is so pointed. Why was this not said of Cain? Why was this not said of Abel? Because Cain and Abel were not in the likeness of Adam. They weren't even the sons of Adam.